Fun little subject today is tuning your instrument. So I want to sort of focus on just the one aspect of tuning that I think matters the most, which is if you're in a concert setting and how should you go about tuning. I want to sort of share, I think the ideal situation is you don't tune. So that's not a strategy, but that is the ideal situation. If you come on stage and you just, there's a mood, or perhaps between a movement, you played some beautiful Beethoven adagio, and then all of a sudden you go adjusting your tuning pegs. Believe me, the audience is, they're really, even though that's part of the violin culture, is to tune audibly to yourself and to really hone in to the audience, they're throwing up. Even more so, musicians that aren't string players are very musically inclined. There's something about a violin tuning. I've talked to like a horn player, especially. I remember she found the sound of the violin section tuning to be up there with nails on the chalkboard. There's something about just that hex of musical notes is just terrible. It's even worse on the E string. I don't have a fine tuner on the E string right now, so I can't do it. But something terrible about it. So those are the extremes: not tuning, not really viable, and just forte playing your instrument into the ground so you can hear it. That is the normal case. If I go to a student recital or something, that's inevitably what happens. Even worse is when I'm at a concert and there's a soloist up there and they start doing that between movements, or usually not between movements, but perhaps at the beginning of their the second half of their intermission. Maybe they'll take an A before the concert starts, but either at the start of the recital or the middle of the recital, at the intermission, after the intermission, they'll definitely do that. So what I suggest is a few things. Before, a bunch of tactics really, before your audience starts rolling in, go to the piano, get your pianist to give you your A. Make sure it's in your ear. If you have perfect pitch, that helps, of course. And tune, and basically go with the assumption that you're going to be in tune. Don't just automatically go to the stage front when it's time to come out and assume your violin's out of tune. Assume the opposite, and then just double check. So take the 10 minutes before people start rolling into the concert. If you're in the green room, really going to town on your fiddle, obviously that might change things, but usually 10 minutes before you go on or something, you're not doing scales, you're not ripping through huge passages, you're trying to get some energy back. So you've got your A, you come back, and then when you come out to the front of the stage, just really just kind of pluck to yourself. You can hear the intervals, especially just two. You'll get a sense whether it's out or not. And then if you're really worried, just turn to your accompanist and say, A, just go, just imperceptible. So get the A, make sure it matches the piano. It's a good start. If it does match, just that's it. Just mezzo piano or piano dynamic, very, very quietly. Don't make it sound like it's you're just adjusting your it's the equivalent of adjusting your tie. When you come out to a performance, it's just make sure that you're prim and proper. You don't come out and just like start putting on mascara in front of your audience, and they don't want to hear it, they don't want to see it. Believe me, it's gross, and I think it's not a nervous tick, but it's just like a cultural tick that, oh, I'm a violinist, we tune before we play, we tune like this, and it's just brash and really gross. Being able to play while your fiddle's knocked out of tune is not ideal, but there's something to be said for knowing if your fiddle sort of, like my D always gets knocked out before anything else. So constantly being, listening for it. And if you think you can just sort of behind the nut, just sort of like press really hard if it's falling flat or something like that, there's these little things to keep your violin in tune, of course. And then when you have a break between movements, if it is out of tune and it's quite knocked out, like before, just the small dynamic, just turn slightly away from your audience, so it's not, oh, here I am a violinist. You're just going to be sort of off to the side, adjusting your tide, and just sort of, yeah. And believe me, I mean, most violinists will know what an in-tune violin sounds like. You don't need to go, it's not doing anything. You know what's in tune, what's not in tune. Now, one subtle thing you can do if you're, this is more of like in a practice room, if you're really confused, this is a cool little hack, I think. If the violin sounds like slightly out of tune, but you're not sure what's going on, what you can do is sort of play your A and your D or whatever interval's sounding a little wobbly. You can sort of, to know which string needs tightening and which needs loosening, you can just imperceptibly like go low on one of the strings and start bending it upwards. And if it happens to be that along the way it gets perfectly in tune, you know that string is flat, so you need to either bring the other string down or the other one up. It's really helpful when you're just trying to do scales or something and you really want to start scales or arpeggios or your exercise with the violin perfectly in tune, so you don't learn wrong intervals. Is to try this exercise, or not try this exercise, use this little hack to sort of get your fiddle perfectly in tune. This is not for a concert setting, believe me. It's if there's a hair out of tuneness with your fiddle and you're in a decent room or a hall, no one's going to tell. But if you're really focused for intonation practicing, definitely want to get 100%. And most fiddles that most violin players usually don't have fine tuners on more than the E string. So if your fiddle's out of tune, it can be annoying to sort of just like work the pegs, not knowing, before you even know what string is flat or sharp. So the default, again, is just this like overly cultural thing, like, oh, it's time to tune, it's not out of tune, let's just like start cranking the pegs. Rather, if it's out of tune sounding, just imperceptibly add a little bit of finger to the bottom of the nut and go up until the pitch is in tune. In this case, I think my violin's in tune. Yeah, my G is a little on the flat side, but it's marginal. I'm not going to worry about it. So I did that. I found that out by starting with open AD or open AG, open D, G, and then adding a little bit of finger to the G and going upwards. And then I heard, oh, it locked into that perfect fifth when I added a little of finger. So the G was flat. So that's a cool little hack. So the practice takeaway as far as making sure your fiddle's in tune, that's good. but most importantly, I want to stress about the culture of tuning in a performance setting. You need to stop if you're doing that. It might come from the orchestra world. I mean, most of us have been through, many years of playing in school orchestras and stuff like that. It might come from that, where you're just, okay, you get an A from the oboe, and they go through the A's for the entire orchestra. And maybe there's something to be said that you need to sort of outplay your neighbor to hear yourself. So maybe that's where this slow comes from. That's it might even work in an orchestra setting. I haven't thought about that too much, but perhaps that's where it comes from. But you cannot bring that culture to anything beyond an orchestra. Like in a string quartet, it's got to be a very intimate, just sort of adjusting of the tie. It can't be, oh, this is what we do as, it's just grotesque. So, just those few little thoughts on that. And I hope that this might change your mind on how you tune.